Well, good morning. It is the 5th of July. Hopefully, everybody had a good 4th. It's a little follow up to the video I posted the other day about the Schecter guitar and what I was going to do with it. You know, in that video, I asked if people had an opinion or make comment about what to do with the body finish. And as you remember, there's wear marks here, here, and here. And generally, the comments that there were just a few were that no, I shouldn't just leave it. I should try to clean it up. Somebody said make it like new, and that's really not doable because in order to make it like new, I would have had to completely refinish the guitar. So what I decided to do is kind of a hybrid in that I touched up the areas with some additional lacquer for protection and a little bit of shading, but you still see it. So, you know, this guitar is from 2006, so I didn't want to try to pretend like it's brand new. You know, it's 14 years old. So, and it's been played a fair amount by somebody who really enjoyed it, and hopefully it's going to be played by someone who really enjoys it in the future. So that's what I did. You know, then I buffed it out with rubbing compound, and then I used semi-chrome cream, excuse me. And let's see if I can find where I put my semi-chrome. Never can find anything when you want it. You know, I had it right here in front of me just so I could tell you about it. This is semi-chrome polish, and it's a metal polish, but I use it to take scratches out, to blend in lacquers, to do just about everything that you can imagine on a guitar, cleaning up the frets, giving them a good polish. It is a fantastic, as Randy Schertiger calls it, a miracle cream, and it truly is. You can use it for so many applications. It makes a wonderful polish. So we shined up the front. You know, remember I said this had a satin finish, if you remember what I said about it. And the sides are still satiny. The back was in very good shape. I'm going to give it one more coat of a car glaze that I use. I think it's McGuire's car glaze. And I'll do that at the end. And that really makes the finish pop. So, the body's done. There was a broken little plate back here. As you can see, this is broken. And so I ordered new ones, and I replaced this one. I just put this one back because it was perfectly good. There was no reason to put a new plastic plate on it. Cleaned up the top of the knobs. You know, they originally probably were black. It looked like they had some black on them. And so I just polished them off with the semi-chrome and, you know, got them nice and clean, and they're black on the sides. Cleaned up the bridge, I mean, literally, you know, just got the dirt off of it. And so that's all set to go. Couldn't really get a complete shine around the ferrules here, no matter how hard I tried. And that's just the way life is. Excuse me. Excuse me. I had a little bit of a sneeze there. So we touched up a few little dings and dents. We did the finish here. So now we're ready to put the strings back on. And prior to doing that, you know, I wanted to check a couple things. The first thing I always check is to make sure the neck is straight. You know, no string tension. Make sure the neck is perfectly straight. And so what I use is one of the few tools that I have. I was going to say this is from StewMac, but this isn't a StewMac. And you lay this across the frets like this, and there's two different string lengths there. And then you look to see if there's any light that comes through. There was just a tiniest bit of bow in the neck, right in through here. Just the tiniest bit. So we want to straighten that out. And you take I hope all this comes up on the camera. You want to take because I can't see as I'm recording. Take the cover off the truss rod, and what I found was the truss rod wasn't tightened at all. The tighter the truss rod, the more likely you're going to get it to bow this way. And so, since it wasn't tightened at all, it had a little bit of the natural bow it's in a guitar back this way. So I took about a half a turn, is all I did, and the truss rod was working just fine. and it straightened the neck out. It is now dead flat. And I just wiped up the frets, looked at them, get them a bit of inspection. There's not much wear on the frets. They really need to do anything to them specifically, and so you know that's a good thing. That's a good sign. Now, what I am going to do is check to make sure there's no high frets. I don't believe there are, but we'll check and make sure, and we'll do a little fret rocking. And I don't use the StuMac tools to do that. I just use a little a piece of metal. In fact, I oftentimes just use the string height guide, and you can lay that there, and you don't feel any rocking, don't feel any rocking, don't feel any rocking. For the next one, a little bit right there, a little bit there. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do, and I see just a tiny bit in the front, so probably just a little wear. All the rest of it, now you only want to get to 3 frets, so when you get to here, you got to take and move it back. And nothing's rocking there, nothing's there, nothing's there, nothing there, nothing there. But there's nothing on this side, just the tiniest little bit. Boy, I don't even know if it's worth worrying with. It's just the tiniest bit. There's a little bit there. That fret's just a little high, I think. So here's what we'll do. Because I saw that, now what we'll do is we're going to mark it. I'm going to take and I'm going to come back in a few minutes, and I'm going to show you that how I put tape down to protect everything. It's a little ding right here. Can't do anything about that. And I put tape down to protect everything, and then I'll mark this up, and then we'll give it a tiny little fret rubbing and take that as a few little high spots. The wood spaces between the frets, because I really want to make sure I don't get ink on them, I don't get sanding marks on them, I don't get them all messed up. It's just a protection thing. And in fact, I'm going to put one more piece of tape right up here between the nut and where I tape. That way it's complete. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark all the frets with a magic marker to give us some indicator of what's going on. And some of the guys use blue. It's actually a joke around that the only ones that actually work are blue, and I can never find any blue markers, so I use red. Works just fine. I can see red real well. What we're going to do is we mark each one, and then I'm going to take a straight edge with some sandpaper on it and just kind of gently roll it around. Now this fretboard is radiused, and I don't know what the radius is because I didn't check it, but I don't have a radius blocks that would work anyway. So what I do is I use a straight edge, and I'm pretty careful about just kind of rolling it around so that I don't really change the radius in any way, shape, or form. All I do is knock down high spots. There's a couple of fellas that I watch religiously. I talked about Randy Schardiger. Randy was probably one of the first ones I've looked at. Technician. He doesn't say he's a luthier, he's a guitar tech. And the other one is Jerry Rosa. And Jerry is essentially a luthier because Jerry builds guitars, and he builds some really nice ones. Randy, I think, is in West Virginia, and Jerry is in very southern part of Missouri. Both of them are excellent. Both of them have some things that they do and like, and that I'm not particularly crazy about. And one of the things that Jerry Rosa likes to do is he has a file that for sanding, and he'll just run it across everything just kind of willy-nilly because he says that it works for him, and he can keep everything knocked down, and you can look at it and see what's going on. He doesn't mark things. He doesn't use tape, and he's very good at what he does, and he's incredibly busy. Just one of those things that I don't particularly subscribe to. So now let me get my sanding block. Hold on. And this is an aluminum tube. And what I did is I bought this at Home Depot, and I took a very flat piece of board, the melamine board, put sandpaper down on it, scribed all the way across it, and sanded this till it was absolutely perfectly smooth and flat and flush. Then I taped 400 grit paper to it, and I'm about ready to make sure to redo that leveling, but right now I'm pretty comfortable that it's going to be just fine. So what we do is we go across, back and forth, very nice and light, so I can start to see where the white is, the red is marker is coming off. And there's just a little bit of a high spot right on that third fret. And I think it was high before because it's a little flat just to look at it. And but now that I've got it down, oh yeah, see that just a little bit. I'm not really doing much. Not doing much at all. And that is about all there is to it, folks. Just because these are in pretty good shape. Coming down here, making sure everything's okay down at this end. Yep. Got a couple of low ones down in here just a little bit. And sometimes that happens as you come to the end of the guitar. But I want to make sure I don't have any fret buzz. And so I get to the end, make sure I really got all of the covering off. Yep. Okay, very happy. And we can just run it across this way. And everything just, well, that's just coming off just as pretty as it can be. And okay. So, very good. Excellent. Now, I'm going to get a rag, wipe this down, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to put the red back on it, and then I'm going to get my fret file, and I'm going to take and put it in recrown, because some of these are a little bit on the flat side. So, hold on just a minute. I'm going to bring you back as soon as I go get my rags and my fret file. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, we're back again. Got everything wiped down. And tape down back again, and we're running down back and we mark everything. Boom, 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 boom. And when I run the file over to crown it, what there's going to be is just the tiniest little red line right down the middle, hopefully. And that way we know that we've taken and restored the, I won't say the point, but the crown of the fret. We don't want the frets to be flat. We want the string to hit the fret in a very, very small, precise spot. Yeah, there we go. Whoops. See, that's why I tape everything, because I don't have to worry, because what happened is I got it on tape, not on the guitar. Now, and do I like that? I gotta take my glasses off in order to see better. There we go. Now, ooh, nice little fine line there. One little fine line here. Perfect. And what I've discovered with this file is I do a little bit one side and a little bit the other. When I do that, it gives me the best result. A little bit of spot. See, this third fret was high, so it's kind of flat. And I've got to get it down. And what I'm really doing, I'm not sanding it, I'm not filing the top, I'm filing the sides. Here we go. And we roll it back and forth, because remember I said it's radiused. So I want to make sure that I get the line about the same all the way across. That way I know I'm following the radius. And I tend to be a little slow on this. I've seen guys that just go, you know, and I'm just a little.
Nobody wants to watch me do this forever and ever and ever. So I'm going to go ahead and edit out some of this tape. And when I come back, we should fairly well be done with the crowning. Thanks.
Okay, now we've got all that done. Let's pull that off. And before I take the tape up, I have to clean all that off. I'm going to move this tape down because it's going to get in the way. And so we're back here. The frets have been crowned, and what I want to do now is just a little bit of a polishing. The first thing I'm going to do is take some very light sandpaper, probably like 1,000 grit. Okay, we're back. Now we put this tape down. Everything's done. First thing I do is take a little light sandpaper. I go over everything. Just polish things off a little bit. And we'll use several grits. Probably finish up with like a 3,000 even. I like the frets to be really, really nice and sharp looking. You know, not sharp, but sharp looking. And we'll get all that off. It's all polished up. Knowing that if I, you know, haven't got the little red marker off, I probably haven't hit that spot very much. And I'm using fairly fine paper to start with. I also tend to not use very heavy paper whenever I get a chance. And I go around to the sides, looking smooth. I want these frets to roll. I don't want them to have flat spots. So I want them to roll. And so I get it all on the sides of it, on this side. It doesn't take much because, you know, even though it's steel, you know, you're just taking very, very fine edges off. You know, you're smoothing things over. So then, when I'm done, it'll be rounded, not flat. And I just keep going. When I get this all done, I'm going to get it strung. And again, today's Sunday the 5th. I'm going to put this out on Facebook Marketplace for about $1.95. And hopefully somebody will enjoy it. You know, I bought it to fix it up, to put it back out so someone else could have a good time with it. And hopefully that's what's going to happen. Had really good luck with Facebook Marketplace. It's in the Dallas-Fort metropolitan area. And okay. So now we got that. I'm going to get something a little bit finer. Go over it again. We give it a wipe down. Yeah, see, it's starting to get nice and rounded looking. Yeah, they're starting to look much better. And let's see if I can find something that is the equivalent of, what do we got? Here's 3,000. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. We take a 3,000. And again, you know, there was a time when I would do lots and lots and lots of overages. But what I'm going to
As you can see, I've speeded up the, you're not missing anything by not hearing my rambling. So we're just going to move on and let this get done as quickly as possible. We're just sanding with 3,000 grit paper to polish. Because what comes after this is yet another level of polish with the semi-chrome cream. My tongue keeps getting in front of my eye teeth, and I can't see what I'm saying sometimes, so I mumble and stumble. I apologize for that. Well, should I level it some more to get rid of those? They're just inconsequential. Just because this guitar's been played a lot. And that's going to happen. You notice there's always almost nothing happening up in here. Okay, the last thing we do, one more clean rag. And here we go. When I first started watching videos, I would notice that a lot of the text, the rags, looked like they were dirty. And I would say to myself, gee, I think the guy could at least have a clean rag. Well, they're not dirty, they're stained. I mean, I wash these rags all the time, but at some point they get stained. But they're clean, they just have a stain on them. And that's the way, that's okay, and what I do is I tend to go down the frets, and then I'll come back. And you see very clearly how much dirt, not dirt, but tarnish comes off on these frets. And that's just very fine tarnish. And then I'll go down them, and then I'll come back, and I'll hit them again, and get them all wiped off. But you can see, look at, and that's because, of course, I've been filing on it and sanding on it, and there's a lot of exposure. So, just go down. And, again, I'm going to speed this video up. I'm just polishing the frets, one after the other, run back and forth on them a couple of times, try to get this done as smoothly and as thoroughly as we can. But, it's not something that you want to just watch endlessly. So, let's move through this as quickly as we can, and we'll wind this whole video up. Well, we've just about wiped everything down with the cream. We have, leveled the frets. We've filed down the frets to recrown them. We have used very light sandpaper to start pulling all these scratches out and to essentially polish. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we've done the finale with the semi-chrome cream. And so now we're about ready to take and pull all that tape off and get it ready to clean up the final bit on the fretboard. Pulling the tape off does a lot to clean off the crud and DNA off the fretboard. It pulls it out of the grain, and it leaves a little tape residue, but that's no big deal. We wipe that down, and I'm going to oil the fretboard before it's all done. I've already done that once. I like to put a little oil down first, minimizes the tape residue. And then, when I'm all done, I'll oil it again, and I'll show you more about what I'm going to do with that. Looks good. Looks real nice. Looks real nice. And as it should. Because we've taken a number of procedures. We've straightened and cleaned and polished. If I did this to my car, it would look a lot nicer. Okay. And the tape out with it away. take a clean spot on the rag. I'm gonna polish right there. I'm not gonna hurt anything. That's what I use this, like I say, the semi-chrome polish on the guitar, on the lacquer. Where I had a few spots that were maybe just, a little rough looking, they were not as shiny. When I went over it with the buffing, I used a rubbing compound. Then I used a couple different spray compounds that I have. And then, like I say, lastly, took a little glazing compound. All that crud off there. Okay. Looking good. Looking real nice. That's what looks nice. I don't know if you can see it, but you'll see how it shines. And as I roll it around, get a light on it maybe there, and you'll see that how it's very, very shiny. And they're very, very smooth. Oh, yeah. Ooh, love it. Okay, that's it. And, now we're ready to restring it. Bring it up to pitch. And, I know what I was going to do. I was going to pour one more little coat of oil in there. And let me grab that. And this is a Tamanu nut. It's a healing oil that I got when we were in Maui one year. And I just put a little squirt here and there. I figure if it'll heal you, it should heal the guitar. As you can see, I'm about out. I'm not going to put a lot on this one because it's already been done once. And basically, I just rub it on. Get it on, get a nice coat in here, let it sit for a minute or two, and then I'm going to wipe it all back off. And now that's what she is. And she's just pretty as she can be. I wish it could stay that shiny. I guess I could if I just put a little lacquer on it or something, but I don't. Now, like I say, I've already put one coat on there. So I'm going to let that sit just for half a second while I have a little sip of coffee here. As a guitar tech, repair person, you get to really enjoy the taste of cold coffee. Yeah. So, anyway, let's give it just a quick wipe down. I'm going to let it sit because there's one more thing I want to do before I restring it, and I'll show you what that is. It's just a little attention to detail. Makes things look real nice. Wish it didn't have that little ding right there, but it's not going to hurt the playability. It's just, everybody hates every little thing that happens. Okay. What I said is one more thing I wanted to do. You may or may not be able to see this real well, but right in here, where it says Diamond Series, apparently somebody must have ran something across it and scratched a lot of the paint. It's just a little white paint. And so what I'm going to do is take a very fine artist brush. You're not going to get forced into watching me do that. And I'm going to rework that. It's just all, and I got to get this cleaned up. I got to get it touched up before I do a real cleaning. Because I may use a cleaning material, but I can't use any lacquers, or not lacquers, but polishes. Because if I do that, then I won't make a paint will not stick. Anyway, I'm going to clean that little spot up right there. There's a little spot on the edge, just a little tiny touch up, just to kind of make it look as new as it can be, even though it's 14 years old. So we'll bring you back once I get it tuned, and then we'll talk a little bit about intonation and the things that we have to do there. Sometimes you have to wipe them down a couple of times because you get them wiped, but then a little bit of oil will come back up, and you really don't want, you just want it whatever's soaked in. So, very good. Well, hope you enjoyed this so far, and we'll be back in just a bit, and I can show you then, the actual finished product, because I did do a lot of changes. When I took these out, so I got to readjust the pickup height. I took this off. I got to make sure that it's set the proper height, and I'm gonna put new strings on. So then I got to make sure that this is going where it should be, and it's where it was. But every time you restring, you got to re-intonate, and then we'll be ready to play. So thanks.